So ADA has pumped to the upside, and in my previous video I mentioned how I was looking out for ADA to have bottomed out at this level, and that level sits at 53.66 cents. And yeah, as you can see, we ended up seeing that move to the upside where I was tracking the wave Y, which is this one here, and I'm looking out for the wave Y to tap into this region between 62.45 cents to 64.73 cents. And here you can see that we've pumped by just short of 12%, where we've then tapped into this region, which I initially set out, where I was looking out for a WXY structure within this move here, with this being a W wave, this being an X wave, and this being a Y wave. And here you can see that the Y wave failed to tap into this region, and instead we ended up getting rejected at this level, where we failed to breach past this level, which then further confirmed that we were bearish, and that then led to this move to the downside. And so despite us actually tapping into this region, it doesn't matter too much. And so what I'll do is I'll remove that and remove that. And yeah, I also talked about how I was tracking a 5-wave move. So what I'll do is I'll go in a 5-minute chart. And here you can see that we actually ended up extending even higher to complete that third wave, where we ended up reaching 56.05 cents. And then we ended up seeing that move to the downside to complete that fourth wave, which was made up of a WXY structure. And then we had that final push to the upside to complete that fifth wave. And this fifth wave is typically a 1.226 to 1.618 retracement of the wave 4. So if I bring in the fib tool, here you can see that we ended up extending beyond the typical requirements, and we got rejected at this level here. And that then led to this move to the downside. And so it's possible that we have one of two structures that are forming right now, with one of which being a 5-wave move to the upside. And so if I go back to the hourly chart, what we could have forming right now is a 5-wave move with this 5-wave structure forming the wave 1. And then we had that dip to the downside to complete the wave 2. And then we could have a wave 3, 4, and 5 payout, where of course that fifth wave will then tap into this region here. So if I bring in the fib tool, for this structure to be valid, what we need is for the third wave to reach the 1.618 level. So if I bring that to over here at 55.68 cents. And so, yeah, here you can see that we haven't actually reached this level yet at 60.51 cents. And so, yeah, in order for us to have a 5-wave move to the upside, then what we need is for the third wave to reach this level. And then we could anticipate a dip to the downside to complete that fourth wave, and a final push to the upside to then complete this fifth wave here. And the other structure that could be in play is a WXY structure, where if I was to remove this, and what you can see is for a WXY structure to be in play, the Y wave would need to retrace anywhere between 1 to 1.226. And here we ended up extending beyond the 1.236 level, which can happen especially if you are in a bullish environment. And given the fact that we failed to reach the 1.618 level, it's possible that the WXY structure is now complete, and we get that dip to the downside to complete that X wave, followed by a push to the upside to complete that Y wave. And so essentially what we could have forming is a bigger WXY structure, where this would then be the W wave, we see that X wave and a Y wave like so, and that W wave would then be made up of a WXY structure, where the W wave will be made up of 5 waves, and because the W wave is made up of 5 waves, then the Y wave will also need to be made up of 5 waves, which is in this case. And so for this WXY structure to be in play, then what we need is for ADA to actually get rejected at this level. And reason being is because if you continue to see high highs and retrace towards the 1.618 level, then that will then trigger a 5-wave move as opposed to a WXY structure. And right now, the bulls do have the momentum as reflected on a price chart, and here you can actually see that we are within the oversold conditions. And we also had a golden cross event that took place. And so, yeah, it's looking likely that we could continue to see high highs. And here you can actually see that we had a change of character being triggered on Smart Money Concept, given the fact that we ended up breaching past this level here at around 59 cents. And we also had another change of character that got triggered also, where we ended up breaching past this local top at around 59.35 cents. And so, yeah, we are looking bullish. And yeah, the next move that I'm looking at for right now is for ADA to tap into this region. And should that be the case, then I will be looking out for that retracement to the downside, where we can anticipate a 50 to 88.2% retracement, followed by another push to the upside. And whether or not that then forms a bigger 5-way structure or a double XR structure, only time will tell. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated. And very quickly, if I go on the 4-hour chart, what you can see is we are within overbought conditions. And so the next move that I'll be looking at for, first and foremost, will be for ADA to actually retest that 200 DMA, which during the time of recording is at 61.66 cents, and then find support at that level, and then see that continuation to the upside, rather than tap into this region A. And should that be the case, then I will be looking at for that retracement to the downside, like I just mentioned before. And yeah, as far as the daily chart goes, same again. We are within overbought conditions, and here you can actually see that the 50 EMA also more or less aligns with the Y wave target that I set out, and so we could potentially get rejected at that 50 EMA, and then see that dip to the downside. And so yeah, that's just my update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully you found this useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit that like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.